A day after leaving Lycos, Kenna's airship streaks towards Aurelia in pursuit of Hex and Dom. On their way to the bridge, Kenna nearly runs into Clover as she hurries in the other direction.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Your Majesty. I didn't see you there.
That's all right, Clover. Why are you in such a rush?
I wanted to ask you, after we defeat Lady Hex and rescue your dragon friend, do you think there will be time to explore a bit? I've always wanted to see the wilds of the Black Spine Mountains for myself. I could make us a picnic lunch and...
Clover, we're going to be fighting for our lives tomorrow. I don't think there'll be time for a picnic.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think. I'm used to her Azora just...
Clover waggles her fingers, making zapping sounds.
Goodness, I'm suddenly quite nervous for all of you. Do you think you'll be alright?
Kenna smiles, reaching out to pat Clover on the shoulder.
Don't worry. I may not have lightning powers, but I've made it through a battle or two.
Yes, I'm sure you'll be fine, Queen Kenna. You're the fiercest woman I've ever met.
Clover gives Kenna a quick hug, then wanders off. As everyone gathers to discuss their next move, Kenna spots Annalise lingering by the window.
Annalise?
She slowly turns to look at Kenna, her eyes red and her expression haunted.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, this isn't your fault. Hex vanished after the Battle of the Bay. Ada's agents have been looking everywhere. There's no way you could have known she would attack Aurelia.
That doesn't matter, Kenna. My people needed me, and I wasn't there. I could have negotiated with Hex. I could have done something. Anything.
Tears spill down her cheeks.
Kenna, I failed them. I failed.
Annalise buries her face in her hands, her whole body shaking with barely contained sobs. Kenna gently pulls her into a hug.
I'm so sorry, Annalise. We're going to make this right. I swear.
Annalise nods, pulling away and carefully dabbing her eyes with a silk handkerchief.
You're right. We have stuff to do.
Kenna and Annalise join the others by the airship controls.
How long until we reach Aurelia?
If this tailwind keeps up, we should reach the city by midday tomorrow.
Hell, we could have used a few of these airships when we attacked the Iron Empire. A shame Hex is too busy with her little side projects to finish them in time.
Yeah, would have been nice if she hadn't wasted all that time learning how to mind control people.
Right, like your little dragon friend Dom. Hey, just how are we planning to take him out exactly?
No one is going to take him out, Diavolos. This is a rescue mission.
I get that. I'm just saying that I've been on the receiving end of a dragon attack. I was at the Battle of the Bay, remember?
Yeah, nobody's forgetting that.
Just like I won't forget that your dragon pals roasted a few dozen of my men alive.
We were at war. They would have killed me if they could. It is not my fault they could not.
Fair enough. But mark my words, it's going to be a war when we reach Aurelia too. And if I have to choose between fighting and getting eaten alive, well, Diavolos isn't on the menu.
Diavolos, you have a point. With Dom under Hex's control, it'd be foolish to assume we could get him back without a fight.
Glad to know we're on the same page.
I don't know if I would go that far.
The point still stands. How do you propose we, let's say, subdue your pal without getting bitten in half?
We'll have Hex to deal with too, not to mention her other captive fire users.
Hells, how many of those fire spitters are there?
Hex has two, but I am more powerful than both.
That's what I'm hoping, Say. When we get to Aurelia, I want you to transform and go after Dom. Say has the best chance of restraining Dom without hurting him. The rest of us will go after Hex and Anton.
Makes sense. Send a dragon to fight a dragon.
Dom cut his training short. It should not be too difficult to overpower him. Kenna, I would consider it a favor if you try not to kill or permanently damage Anton. He was once my friend, and I believe he's not completely lost to us.
We'll do our best, Say.
As somebody who doesn't have much experience fighting fire people, how does one, win?
I've been experimenting with a new weapon that emits a short concussive burst of energy that can be attenuated to incapacitate opponents or...
Whitlock trails off, looking around at everyone's blank expressions. He sighs, retrieving a glowing weapon from the control console.
It's an energy pistol.
We heard you the first time.
This setting will stun, and this one will, kill.
Kenna examines the unfamiliar weapon, noting the settings Whitlock described.
Amazing. And much more portable than your shock emitter.
Ha! Don't remind me of that monstrosity. It shocked me at least twice as often. This won't be able to knock out Dom in his dragon form, but it will definitely be effective against human targets.
Kenna takes the weapon, feeling a barely perceptible hum against the palm of her hands.
You never cease to amaze, Whitlock.
Good, it is sort of my job.
When we set down, you and Annalise will stay with the ship, at least until the fighting is over.
Understood.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Annalise glances out the front window, pointing to a mountain ridge in the distance.
Aurelia's on the other side of the peak. Whitlock, you'll want to let us off on the western slope. While you're fighting in front of the city, I'm gonna sneak in the mines and evacuate everyone I can find.
You plan to run into a burning city alone?
My burning city, say, with my people trapped inside.
Annalise, you're right.
Kenna clasps Annalise's hands tightly.
Your people need you. Just be careful, alright?
Annalise pulls Kenna into a tight hug.
Thank you. I knew you would understand.
Annalise releases Kenna, and a tense silence falls over the bridge.
Elves, is there anything to drink in this godforsaken flying boat? If I'm gonna die tomorrow, I'd rather not do it sober.
Will you shut up? Nobody's dying tomorrow.
Oh, come on. Odds are high someone will. I mean, we didn't even bring any troops with us.
Because we need every soldier we have to assemble at Stormholt. We're preparing for an invasion.
What good is that if you can't spare a squad or two to defend your queen?
Well, maybe we had more soldiers to spare if your father hadn't abducted thousands of people and forced them to die in his pointless war.
Pointless? You think it was pointless to drive Azura's army off of our shares? You think it was pointless to make them pay for burning my grandfather alive?
What
about my little brothers? Was their sacrifice pointless too? Did I watch Battlestar and Sayora die in front of me? In front of my eyes for no reason?
Diavalos,
Diavalos clenches his fist, as if fighting to keep something inside. Then he suddenly turns, marching out of the room.
I shouldn't have. I was just angry about my parents. I didn't think.
Whitlock, you couldn't have known. No one told us that Baltair and Sayora had died. Knowing Luther, he hid this from us on purpose so he wouldn't look weak.
I still wish I'd spoken more carefully.
Well, I'm not gonna coddle the Blood King's favorite son. Not after everything his family's done to us.
I'll never forgive Luther for my mother's death. He's a brutal, calculating killer, and he deserves to rot in a pit for the rest of his life.
Kenna hears a thump from the other side of the wall, followed by muffled curses.
But the fact is we need this alliance. Without it, countless others will die or be enslaved. I'm going to talk to Diavalos. Get some rest, everyone.
Kenna finds Diavalos sitting in the corridor, cradling one of his hands in the other.
What happened?
Punched the wall. Thought it might help make me feel better.
Did it?
Do you actually care?
Maybe.
Kenna stands in silence for a long moment.
Sorry, I shouldn't have. I didn't mean to say those things back there. Father would have beaten me if he saw me acting like this.
Diavalos, you know that not everyone is happy about this alliance. The ugly truth is that your father is responsible for the deaths of our loved ones.
Diavalos clenches his jaw, unable to meet Kenna's eyes.
That said, I hope we can learn to understand each other better. We know that you're grieving too.
Grieving? In my family, grieving just means making everyone else feel as miserable as we are. I've never really talked to anyone about my brothers or...
He trails off, rubbing his injured knuckles.
Diavalos, you can talk to me.
Are you serious? You want to have some kind of sappy heart-to-heart?
If you'd like.
Diavolos considers Kenna, his cocky smile slipping away.
Actually, I would like that.
Come on, we can talk in my room.
Kenna and Diavolos climb up the ladder into her small bedroom on the airship.
Ain't no fair. Your bed is bigger than mine.
Perks of being in charge.
Diavolos flops onto Kenna's bed, and she sits on the edge of her desk.
Kenna, what was your father like?
I barely remember him, actually. He died when I was a little girl. I remember being held. I think he was wearing armor. He was showing me his sword, and I put my hand over his on the hilt.
Is that your earliest memory? Holding a sword? 'Cause that explains a lot about you.
Doesn't it? What about you? What's it like having Luther as a father?
Honestly, we're not so different in that regard. It seems like the man who was my father died years ago, and his father was killed by the Iron Empire. He was usually too busy running the war to spend time with me, but my mother could always make him laugh. When she died too, it changed him.
Tell me, what was your mother like?
She was terrifying. Picture Zenobia, but instead of poisoning your wine, she breaks your neck with her bare hands. Once, a visiting duke talked down to her at the dining table, so she challenged him to a duel. Right there in front of the banquet hall.
Gods, did she win?
He said it was unseemly to fight a woman, so she had him locked in a tiny cage until he changed his mind. Then she won.
That definitely sounds like the kind of woman Luther would marry.
After Mother died, Father disappeared completely into the war. He barely ate. He didn't speak to me for months at a time.
That's terrible. You'd just lost your mother, and your father wouldn't even talk to you. What did you do?
I got my father's soldiers to teach me how to fight, and I studied tactics with his advisors. Father didn't seem to want a son anymore, so I made myself into a weapon instead, and it worked. I fought in my first battle at 13, and that night Father threw a feast in my honor. Soon, he was training me himself.
You joined Luther's army that young. That's awful. How could Luther let you fight when you were just a child?
Have you met my father? He'd let a kitten fight in his army if it could swing a sword. You know that thing Azor's lackeys say about every life having a purpose?
I've heard it a few times. Yes.
I feel like the only reason I'm here is to help my father win this war, and I'm alright with that. As purposes go, it's pretty significant. But Beltaire and Seorus, I wanted more for them. I wanted them to be the ones who made it out alive.
You don't want more for yourself? What about love?
Do I seem like someone who spends a lot of time thinking about love?
No, but you've surprised me before.
I don't think I know what love looks like.
He sighs, standing up.
Well, I think that's enough bearing my soul for one night. Thanks for listening.
Of course. I hope it wasn't too painful for you.
Nothing I couldn't handle.
Diavolos holds out his hand. Kenna stands, placing her hand in his, and he bows, leaning forward to brush a kiss over her knuckles.
Until tomorrow, Your Majesty.
Good night, Diavolos.
He climbs down, shutting the trapdoor behind him. Kenna slips into bed, watching moonlit clouds escape past her window until she drifts off to sleep. The next morning, Kenna's airship passes over the mountains. She stands on the deck and looks out over the smoldering wreck of the Golden City.
Gods.
Kenna looks over at Annalise, who clutches the railing in a white-knuckled grip, her dark eyes reflecting the cold blue flames.
Are you sure you want to do this?
What I want is to bury Hex alive in the deepest, darkest hole I can find. Failing that, I'll settle for quietly foiling her plans. Whitlock, dear, I can see the entrance to the mines. Can you slow down?
Hey, cutting engines.
The airship slows to a gentle glide, and Annalise secures a rope ladder to the railing.
Good luck.
You too, darling.
Annalise climbs over the railing and lowers herself down the rope ladder. A minute later, She vanishes down a barely visible crack in the mountainside.
Annalise is away. I'm taking the airship down for a landing.
Get ready, everyone. And remember, Hex is a devious opponent. She's been here a couple of days already, and she probably knows we're coming. Watch out for traps.
Jackson and Diavolos draw their swords. Say cracks her knuckles, staring at the burning city.
Ready to bring Dom home, Say?
Say nods, firmly squeezing her shoulder.
Fight well, Queen of Stormholt. We cannot fail this time.
Sparky scampers onto the deck, sniffing furiously at the air. Suddenly, he growls, the fur on his back bristling.
I smell something. Something big. Something mad.
Turning suddenly, Sparky looks at Say.
It smells kinda like you, pack leader.
Hey, how come Say is pack leader?
Say shrugs indifferently, but the corner of her mouth quirks into a smile as Kenna scoops Sparky into her arms.
I think what you're smelling is our friend. He can turn into a dragon, like Say. We're here to rescue him, though we might need to fight him first.
I will fight the dragon for you, Kenna. I will make him roll over in defeat. He will expose his belly to me, and I will bite it. What is a dragon?
Something too big for you to fight, Sparky.
Are you sure? I fought a fox one time. A big one.
Quite sure. Besides, I'm counting on you to guard the ship.
I can do that. I've been practicing my lard bark. Whitlock says it's very frightening.
Sounds perfect.
Whitlock guides the ship to a flat patch of stone near the ruined gate. As Kenna and her companions cautiously exit the airship, a voice calls out from above.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see all of you for at least another week.
Kenna freezes, looking up to see Hex perch atop a nearby ridge.
I'll be taking that airship back once I've dealt with you.
Brave words for a dead woman.
Where is he, Hex? Bring Dom to us now, and I promise to be lenient with your sentence.
Hex throws her head back, her laughter echoing shrill and loud from the valley walls.
Oh, he didn't tell me you were funny. Well, this is one reunion I would be more than happy to facilitate. Dom, come, my pet. Look who's here to see you.
A huge, scaled claw rises over the ridge, then another, followed by an enormous head with two blazing eyes.
Oh, Dom.
Dom crawls over the ridge, flaming dripping from his teeth. Hex reaches out to stroke his massive neck.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy watching him kill you.
Suddenly, Say rushes forward, her body disappearing column of flame.
Not as much as I will enjoy killing you, she-devil.
Say's dragon form bursts from the flames, thundering towards Hex and Dom.
No!
Say slams against Dom. They take to the sky, roaring and snapping at each other. As Hex watches, transfixed, Kenna draws her weapon and charges forward.
Come on!
Jackson and Diavolos fall in behind Kenna, yelling battle cries. Hex looks at Kenna, her face twisted with fury.
Anton! Kill!
Out of the corner of Kenna's eyes, she sees a flash of blue. Kenna ducks, and a blue fireball sizzles over her head.
Too slow, Hex.
Don't worry, there's plenty more.
Off to one side, Anton trudges towards Kenna, his arms wrapped in flames.
Kill.
Long tendrils of fire snake out from Anton's hands, and he whips them towards you.
Look out!
Jackson leaps in front of Kenna, catching the flaming whips on his shield. The metal begins to glow with heat as Anton strikes again and again.
Kill! 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 Getting a little hot back here. Anyone got a plan?
I do.
Kenna sheaths her sword and draws her energy pistol. Switching to the stun setting, Kenna sees her weapon glowing with a warm yellow light.
I can't get a clear shot while he's attacking me. Keep him focused on you. I'll sneak around and hit him from the back. And remember, try not to hurt him.
Right, because me hurting him is what's likely to happen.
On my signal. Now!
Kenna dodges behind a nearby boulder, and Diavolos charges past Jackson's shield, swinging his sword high.
Yeah!
Anton turns, lashing out at Diavolos' head and legs. Diavolos leaps, turning sideways in the air and spinning between the two flaming whips.
Not even close.
Anton hisses in frustration, turning to look for an easier target.
Hey, over here, puppet man!
As Anton focuses his attack on Jackson, Kenna creeps from boulder to boulder until she's staring at Anton's back.
Let's hope Whitlock hasn't lost his touch.
Kenna squeezes the trigger, and a golden bolt of light explodes from the barrel, slamming into Anton's back. Anton falls on his face, unconscious. Jackson drops his shield, cursing as he shakes out scorched fingers.
Oh, that was a good shot, Your Majesty.
Couldn't have done it without you two.
Let me have a turn at that thing. I bet I can get Hex right between the eyes.
Maybe when I'm done playing with it. Now we just need to figure out where Hex went so we can...
Kenna ducks as Say and Dom swoop low overhead, the gust from their wing beats nearly knocking her down.
Whoa!
Dom roars again, unleashing a column of flame at Say. She dodges and weaves in the air, easily avoiding his attacks.
I can't believe I'm seeing this. That's really Dom up there?
I'm not so sure anymore. He's acting like a rabid beast. What if we're too late?
Say banks into a sharp turn, drawing Dom towards the burning palace of Aurelia. Say pulls up suddenly, flipping over in the air and slamming down on Dom's back, driving him into the mountainside.
Stay down, Lowlander! I do not wish to hurt you more than I must!
Dom roars and trashes, but Say holds him fast against the rocks.
She's got him. Quick, we need to find Hex. Where in all hells did she disappear to?
Kenna?
Diavalos points to the bridge across the chasm. Kenna watches as a distant figure lifts a bulky device, aiming it at the struggling dragons below.
You're mine, Fire Freak!
No!
Hex pulls a lever, and a huge net explodes from the front of the device, wrapping around Say's wings.
What?
Dom trashes again. Distracted, Say loses her hold, and Dom smashes her against the rocks. Say goes limp, tumbling down into the chasm below. Dom moves to follow, but Hex calls out to him.
No! No, pet! It won't do to kill your playmate! She's going to be very useful once I break her too. I'll take care of the other Fire Freak, while you kill Kenna Risk.
Dom's head turns, and he launches himself towards Kenna. He opens his mouth, a white hot inferno building inside.
He's going to breathe fire at me. Take cover!
Kenna pulls her companions behind a large boulder, just as flames sear the air all around her, breaking against the boulder.
Phew.
Hells, thanks for the warning.
Yeah, I'm starting to think I may get through the day without getting immolated.
The deluge of flame ceases, and the ground shakes as Dom lands behind.
Your Majesty, we must get you back to the airship. We're outmatched without Say.
We're not leaving. Not now. Not when we're so close. We'll split up. He can't go after all of us.
Not my favorite plan, but it's all we've got.
At Kenna's signal, Jackson and Diavalos break to either side, scrambling for cover in the rocks. Kenna runs straight ahead, and Dom follows. Dom rears up, painting the path ahead of Kenna with flames. She escapes, blocked completely. She turns to look up into the face of her love.
Dom! It's me! It's Kenna!
Hey! Over here!
Jackson flings a rock at Dom's head, but he ignores it, focusing only on Kenna. Dom stalks closer, like a hunting lion.
Dom, don't you know me? Tell me you're still in there.
Kenna, that is not your friend! He's going to kill you if you don't fight!
Kenna clutches her sword as Dom rears, his wings seeming to blot out of the sky.
Dom, I could never hurt you, even now. Even if it means my death. I will not cause you more pain.
Kenna's sword falls from her limp hands, and she stares up into Dom's glowing eyes. Dom lashes out with one enormous claw, swatting Kenna like an insect. Kenna hits the ground hard, something inside her cracking on impact. The taste of blood fills her mouth. There's nowhere left for her to run. Nothing she can do but watch as Dom looms over her, his head bending down, his jaws gaping open to tear her apart.